Good morning. Happy Halloween. And go ahead with your question. Nice to have you with us this morning. Go ahead. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead with your question.
I guess I'd just like to, it's kind of a comment. I would just like to say that I think they're sadly mistaken that they don't believe that Satanism is alive today. It is very alive, and that's how they derive their power.
Well, to be fair to these gentlemen, I don't believe that you said that Satanism is not alive.
No, not at all.
I believe you said that the religion of Wicca, you don't worship Satan.
Exactly. But there are Satanists. Of course there are. We just are not them.
Yeah. Is there any crossover between witchcraft and...
There shouldn't be, no. There are people who believe in Satan and who worship him for whatever warped reasons. I have no idea, but there are people like that. So we're not saying there is no such thing as Satanism. But it has nothing to do with witchcraft. Witches do not believe in Satan and therefore do not worship him.
The caller may also think that Buddhists or Jews worship Satan too, since they don't accept her own personal view of deity.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
still
true,
there, caller?
Yes, I am. I would just like to say that I wonder, where do they think that they derive their power then?
I said it is natural. Everybody has these powers. We have simply worked towards...
You can say that the power comes from divinity, from deity. How you view that deity is another question. The powers that we have within us come from God, if you like. Now, if you want to call God Jesus, that's fine. If we want to call God by the names we use for our God and Goddess, that's fine. But they come from deity through us.
What are the names you use?
Different traditions use different names. There are many traditions within witchcraft, just as there are denominations within Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, could you show us some of your power? Anyhow, so we can believe you more?
How do we know you're witches?
Okay. Quite frankly, we don't care whether you believe or not. Right. No, we're not here to give a display. And if you had, say, the Archbishop of Canterbury here, would you ask him to do a mass to show that he really was an archbishop?
I don't ask my Christian friends, and I do have some. I don't ask them to prove they're Christians or prove they can pray to Christ.
How long have witches been around?
They've been around for thousands of years. The late Dr. Margaret Murray did some extensive research, and she traced them back, she thought, to Paleolithic times, which is 25,000 years ago. I don't honestly think that witchcraft per se goes back that far. Certainly religion does. This was the root of religion. But witchcraft, as we know it today, certainly from 1,000 or more years before Christianity, there was a big revival, however, in the 1950s, when it was thought that witchcraft had died out, but in actual fact it hadn't, and it revived.
Approximately how many people follow the Wicca religion?
It's very difficult to say because, as Scott mentioned earlier, covens are autonomous. They are groups just unto themselves. There's no one leader of all witches. There's no witch pope or witch king or witch queen or anything like that. But it's certainly in the I would say, tens of thousands.
At least, yes. One large pagan publication has a mailing list of, I think, 20,000.
Let me work my way around here, have we? Go ahead, stand up for me, please.
If I wanted to become a witch, where would I go? Do you have a building, a location to go? Are you in the Yellow Pages?
No. The best
tech school, I mean.
No, the best way to do it is to read. Just like you would study any other religion before you enter it. You certainly want to know everything about the religion before you become a member of it.
When we talk about a religion, usually we talk about whether it's Christianity or talk about the Jews or whatever. Mm-hmm. They have one set of principles and one set of laws that they follow. But it appears to me that you're saying that anyone can go and read a couple of books and decide if they're a witch. So really, is that a religion? Isn't it just a bunch of individuals deciding that they want to do something on their own?
They don't decide they become a witch. It has to be a conscious decision to work towards becoming one. And eventually, through your private study, you eventually probably find someone who is a member, and they can help train you into the finer aspects of the religion.
The way I found witchcraft was by reading various books and then writing to authors of those books. The ones which I found made sense, which seemed right to me, I wrote to the authors, started a correspondence. Through that, I was put in touch with groups, met the people there, found the ones that I felt comfortable with, and took the step from there. So it's a lengthy process. Witches don't advertise and they don't proselytize. So it's not easy to find witches. You've got to hunt. And the best way, as Scott said, is through reading, through then contacting the author and making further contacts from there.
Okay, you said that you believe in a god and a goddess. Now, I'm just wondering, do they have different roles that you look up to, either one, and is one more superior than the other?
Okay, first of all, we don't believe. Belief seems to indicate there's a doubt as to whether something is real or not. I know that they exist. This is basically, I think, the powers behind all gods and goddesses, all deities ever worshipped are the same. They're there. Whatever you want to call them, however you look at them or turn them. I just rever them as these specific twin deities. And they have specific attributes and histories and names, but you can pick and choose from various different ancient cultures.
Now, before you ask your question, I want to ask you the vision you have of a witch. What does a witch look like?
I don't know, with a pointy hat.
And what else?
In the past.
The pointy hat and what else?
Long black cloak or something. Something black and
And the broom.
scary looking.
And a funny-looking nose with a big wart on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, guys. There's no pointed hat, no...
Sorry,
You know.
I flew in here on Northwest, not in a broom.
And my broom sticks in for an oil change.
Right.
Your broom is in for a what?
An oil change.
An oil change.
Well, do you ever use your powers to promote evil or in any negative way?
No, as Ray said, we have one law, and you harm none. Do what thou will.
There's also a belief which goes along with that, a belief that whatever one does returns threefold. So if you do good to someone, you're going to get back 3 times the good. So you want to go out and do good. If you do evil, you're going to get back 3 times the evil. So who wants that? So there's certainly no inducement to do harm.
Good morning. You're on Twin Cities Live. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, I would like to commend the older gentleman in his response to the lady who called in, expressing the viewpoint that the Bible was the only book, the only answer, the only right way. I think it is a far more healthier attitude when you acknowledge that there are several paths to the center, to the force, to whatever is right for us. There is more than one way, and people who claim or feel that they have the answer and the only solution are far more dangerous to us as individuals and to our society as a whole.
I agree absolutely, and I thank you for that. I think that when we do acknowledge others, it's fine for people to have different views and to follow those and believe what they believe, so long as they're not trying to force those views on others.
Absolutely. I think it is a supreme egotism to believe that one's own accepted religion is a perfect religion for all.
When we come back, I want to talk to our 2 witches today, Scott and Ray, about what Halloween means to them. This is the big day if you're a witch. We want to find out why when we continue on Twin Cities Live. Well, let's go right to the source here and ask, how did Halloween come about and what does it mean to a witch?
Halloween originated way back about 20,000 years ago. At that time, man and woman, humankind, depended upon hunting to exist. They used to hunt animals, and so a god of hunting came into being. A little later, they developed agriculture, and a goddess came into being with looking after fertility of the crops. And the year was pretty much divided then into 2 halves, a half of the year during the winter when they would hunt for food, and the summer half when they could grow food. And the division of the year was at Halloween, as it is now, and at what we call Beltane, which is the beginning of March. Excuse me, my mind is gone, beginning of May. So you've got the year divided into 2. Halloween, or Samhain, which is the old name for it, then is this change of season from the summer to the winter. And it is a big time in witchcraft, because this is a time when we feel that we get together to celebrate, to see the change of emphasis from the goddess to the god, and we feel that also at this time you can speak with the spirits of people who have died, during the preceding year. You can get together with old friends, in effect.
So what are you going to be doing tonight? Are you going to have a, what do they call it, seance? Or?
It's not a seance, that belongs to spiritualism, but a circle, a gathering, a meeting,
Will you do that tonight?
a coven meeting. Unfortunately, we're away from home, but I think there's a possibility we might be invited to a local gathering. But it will be a celebration, a time for celebration.
I was just wondering if the kids of the witches believe that Halloween is anything different, or if it's normal, like turning normal.
It's almost like Christmas to a Christian. It's the big festival of the year, the big fun time of the year, the big celebration of the year. So which kids thoroughly enjoy it?
Good morning. You're on Twin Cities Live. Excuse me. Go right ahead. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, hi.
Go ahead.
Christians believe there's life after death, and I was just wondering, what do witches have to look forward to? Is there any life after death?
We believe there are many lives after death. We embrace the doctrine of reincarnation, as many millions of people do in the Far East.
Go ahead. You had a question down front.
I was wondering, what is the relationship between your deities, brother and sister, or...
Well, there are many different myths or stories told about them. Sometimes they're brother and sister, sometimes they're husband and wife. Some witches believe that they created everything in existence. Some witches believe they were here after everything in creation was created. It just depends. Again, Wicca is a very individual religion, and if you have 10 witches answering the same question, they'll give you at least 13 answers.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a writer. That's what I do for a living. I write not only books on Wicca and the occult, but also books, I write westerns, gothics, romances, men's action, and I also do car columns, syndicated columns about car upkeep and maintenance.
How often do you get together as a group and worship your gods and stuff? And do you have a day set aside besides like Halloween where you do get together and have your meetings?
Yes, it probably depends on the individual group. Some covens meet at least once a week. The day they meet is whatever day is most convenient for all of them, and I think most of them meet on a Saturday simply because you can stay up late, you don't have to go to work the next day, very mundane reasons. It depends on the group. Some only meet once a month. You have, as I say, major festivals throughout the year, 8 during the year, Samhain and Beltane being the two major ones. The minor meetings, the weekly meetings, are referred to as esbats, but it depends on the group how often they want to meet.
Scott, what's the most amazing thing that you've seen in one of these gatherings? I mean, something that really, even if you're a witch, kind of surprised you?
Well, I think you could perhaps ask a Christian the most amazing thing they saw at one of their services. The things that occurred during...
Well, we don't have Christians here today. We have witches. So
I see.
I mean, what... You get together and you have, like he said, Ray, tonight if you get together, and I'm sure on past Halloweens, let's narrow it down a little bit. Past Halloweens, when you've gotten together, have you talked to someone, a spirit, or
I have, yes. One circle I was at many years ago, one of the people most responsible for the resurgence of witchcraft was the late Dr. Gerald Gardner. And I knew Gerald very well when he was alive. He died in 1962. And at a circle, the Halloween after his death, I saw him there in the circle. He appeared and he seemed to be as full-bodied as anybody else there in the circle. He didn't say anything. He walked around the outside of the circle smiling and nodding to us, and then he just disappeared again. And that, I think, is the most surprising thing that I've ever seen.
But I've seen things like, we usually do things, our religious rites are practiced within a circle, basically, a circular shape. It's sort of like the temple itself is a circle. I've seen things like lights moving around outside. I've usually seen more things like ghosts and images and things like that when I've investigated haunted houses. But usually our religious rituals are pretty much religious.
Yes, when I think of witchcraft or the Wicca religion, I think of ancient times, say back in Europe, as where it started. What's the difference between that religion and Americanism for Wicca? Do you know what I mean? Is there a difference? Do you still practice the same faith, belief?
That's a good question. Most people's idea of early European witchcraft is, of course, the propaganda that's been given by the church over the years of the tall pointed hats and the ugly crone type thing. But witchcraft in Europe was in the form of groups of witches, covens, meeting together to worship their gods, much as we've discussed so far this morning. The American variety is pretty much the same. I did mention that there are different denominations of witchcraft, right? We've got Celtic witches, Saxon witches, Gardnerian witches, Druidic witches. So depending on the group, it will depend on how the meeting goes, the format of it. But the Celtic witches, for instance, follow exactly the same sort of rituals that the Celtic witches in Europe follow. Saxon witches, the same thing. There are one or two traditions which were founded here in this country, and so they have their own little idiosyncrasies, but they all follow pretty much the same general pattern.
Although, of course, things have been modernized a little bit because we don't have the same mind space as people did in 1300s, 1400s in Europe. We're much smarter.
Excuse me. Thank you for holding on the line. You have your chance now to talk to Scott Cunningham or Ray Buckland, who are, these men are witches. They say they're witches. Go ahead with your question.
Hi. I was wondering what the significance is of the pentagram, and if that's a part of the occult or if it's part of witchcraft.
It is a part of the occult generally, but it has been pretty much adopted by witchcraft. The pentagram, for those who don't know, it's that five-pointed star, the interconnecting points of the star, and it symbolizes life itself. Some of you might be familiar with the Egyptian Ankh, the thing that looks a little like a crucifix but with a loop at the top. That was the Egyptian symbol for life. Well, the pentagram is almost a European version of that. In some of the old books on magic, you'll see a man or a woman standing with their arms outstretched and their legs apart and a pentagram superimposed on them. So it symbolizes the life force. Witches use that quite a bit, use that as their symbol. Unfortunately, Satanists have also adopted that, though they usually reverse it, as they do everything. So they have the five-pointed star with the 2 points at the top, and they sometimes have it superimposed on a goat's head with the 2 points for the horns and the ears and the chin of the goat.
No accounting for taste.
Or like
Well, we will continue with our tune-up for Halloween, talking with witches and talking about witchcraft on Twin Cities Live, so don't go away. We'll be right back.